Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. It's K.L.P Aftermath with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Tune into the swanky one, new K.L.P.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen. Boy, howdy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another exciting podcast here today. We hope that everyone has had a fantastic week so far. It is a wonderful Tuesday night, July 8th. Let me tell you, June got up out of here, like it had somewhere to be. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that everybody's having a rocking good summer so far. It is July, and it's very, very funny that I've seen it on the way to the studio and also on the way to the office and also on the way to the gym too. That there's a lot of programs. They putting together a back to school bash, right? So it's very, very interesting to see that happen for the kiddos, getting ready to start as early as August 1st for some of the students in the world. Again, comment below if you have kids, when do your kids go back to school? They're starting that thing out really, really early, preparing, buying crayons, hand sanitizers, rulers, book bags, pencils, mechanical pencils, notebooks. So shout out to everybody with the kids that's getting ready to take those little nuggets back to school. I've seen a lot of back to school bash. It's very, very interesting to say the least. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the K.L.P Aftermath podcast. Again, I'm your gracious, your highly favored, blessed, healthy, and great spirits podcast host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas here, y'all. Oh, man. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, guys, if you guys seen the podcast episode from yesterday, the Bro Code podcast, over an hour and 30 minutes long for everybody out there. If you know, you know. That is our official sports podcast show that we premiere weeks back, of course, but it is available on all audio platforms you get your podcast from. So again, it's myself, Terry T, my producer for this show, and Jackson Smith. They're amazing at what they do when they talk about the latest in sports news. And believe it or not, a lot of people enjoy our show. I am very, very blessed and highly favored that you guys love the content, love the show that we got going on. It's very, very cool. And I'm thankful. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the show when it comes out for that as well. I'm glad that you guys enjoying the content. Of course, we had a great opening weekend for Eden Prime Horizons. If you guys know, that is our new series with K.L.P Entertainment and Oasis Originals by K.L.P Entertainment, our TV division. You guys can follow it. We'll have it in the link description. But if you go to Spotify video, type in Oasis Originals. You could just type in those two words. You're going to see Oasis Originals by K.L.P Entertainment. And that's where we have the first episode of Eden Prime Horizon. And, of course, episode 2 comes out this Friday. You can listen and watch Influencer City, the full first season, and also Street Style Back in the A. The film documentary is available there as well. So I love it. I love the attention. I like the audience score, a lot of viewership, and in climbing, too. People really been enjoying the TV division we got with K.L.P Entertainment. So I just got to say thank you so very much. We love it. We love to hear that, we're doing something amazing when it comes down to that as well. And also this Friday, of course, what had happened was with me and Evelyn, Letitia will be coming back this Friday. Of course, the last week I was on vacation, and then we didn't record last weekend because we're trying to get some things in order. When you come back from vacation, typically you got to have some time when it comes down to it. You need time to kind of prepare. You need time to kind of get it together when you come back from vacation, and you're kind of going back to the roots of, vacation time, getting back into it as well. I really do enjoy vacation. You guys know I talked about it in the past couple of episodes. You just got to go back and take a look at that as well. It's hot outside. I will say it's hot outside. Everybody get ready to crank that AC. Let me tell you, I was happy to pay it because we're very, very successful. But I like to tell the stories. Now, at my house, Georgia Power, we need y'all, but y'all know what y'all doing. That power bill was high. Well, it's not tremendously high, but yeah, I do say to a lot of people, get prepared for that high ass Georgia Power bill this next month and a half. It's hot outside. It's 91 degrees. Honestly, I don't mind paying a little extra in my AC bill because I like a nice air conditioning home. Some people like it hot during the summertime. I can't do that. I can't do a lot of sweating. I can't sleep hot and sweaty. I have to take all my clothes off and not sleep with my covers. Even when I got the AC cranked, I still don't sleep with my covers. I just get warm. I get hot. I don't need to be rubbed up on. I need some space to have my clothes off to sleep. So you guys get prepared for that because that power bill is on its way up this month in the summertime. And Georgia Power, they know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to monopolize so that way they can get the more profits here. We all know it. We all know what's going on. It does happen. We have to still pay for it because obviously we need AC to survive. So get ready for that as well. Summer Body's getting out right. And I got to say that this episode was brought to you by, of course, Crunch Gym Fitness. I went to the gym today. Very, very interesting. It was quite empty today for a Tuesday. Maybe everybody had that 9 to 5 early morning office. Typically with us, we have some strange flexible hours with K.L.P Entertainment and all the other businesses we got going on. But it was very, very interesting to say that I go to Crunch Snellville. That is the biggest crunch in the state of Georgia that I know of so far. Love it. My fantastic favorite gym to go to. Quite empty today, T, and audience. It was very, very empty enough to where I was able to use a lot of machines there. But let me just tell you guys what's going on with Crunch. Now, Crunch Snellville, they have this as their promotion. But, of course, Crunch has these ultimate summer sweepstakes going on. Of course, our tagline is lift, win, sip, and ride. Let me tell you what the sweepstakes they got going on. And Crunch Snellville, but in Crunch in general, they have a lot of cool sweepstakes that's going on. So last year, they were giving away a electric 2025 Mustang. I forgot that model. It looked like a Lamborghini Yaris or a BMW X6, but it was a Mustang version of that. Don't know the official name of that type of car. Last year, they had that in the running as the sweepstakes, and obviously, I entered that to win. I didn't win. Obviously, there's millions upon millions of people who's trying to get this thing, trying to win. This is what they're giving away this year for Crunch. Crunch Snellville has this promotion. If you go to Crunch Snellville, you can get the promotion. But if you go to any other Crunch, you can get this down. Of course, if you enter the Ultimate Summer Sweepstakes from Crunch, they are giving away a 2025 BMW 2 Series Grand Coupe. But wait, there's more. They're also giving away free smoothies for a year presented by Smoothie King. Very, very cool. Now, along with a lot of thousands upon millions of members of Crunch Snellville and Crunch in general, I entered the competition. Now, not a lot of people might say, hey, you already got a BMW. Why do you want this one? Because it's car number 2, right? It's always been a dream of mine to have 2 cars under my name. So they're giving away the 2 Series BMW 2025. I do got to say, I am very blessed for my electric BMW. I love that thing to death. It's out there in the parking lot. I love that car, right? But it couldn't hurt to enter this sweepstakes to get this another thing. To have another vehicle in the garage, have 2 BMWs in my garage, that sounds kind of swanky to me. But I do want to say this to a lot of people. Best of luck, crunchsweeps.com. And I say this, I want to say best of luck to a lot of people because you'd be surprised. And this is where the part where I say I'm so thankful to have a vehicle, first and foremost, by the grace of God. I'm so thankful to have my type of car that I have because I love that thing. A lot of people don't have vehicles, right? You'd be surprised. A lot of people just don't have a car, right? Because either they can't afford it, right? And that happens in everyday life. Things are getting more expensive. Bills are piling up for some people. People are working these 9 to 5s that don't get paid enough. There are some people in this world who cannot afford a vehicle. So it is very, very good to see when somebody wins a brand new car. They cry, they shed a tear because they just didn't have one. They don't have a car. And they're giving this away. So there's no car note, there's no car financing payment. It's yours. The only thing you really got to pay for is maintenance and insurance. Oh, and your registration too, right? So I do say to a lot of people, best of luck in this competition. Do I want to win this? Absolutely not. Absolutely, I do want to win this. Absolutely, I entered the sweepstakes for a chance to win. I just do hope, and it's not to knock on the trainers. I'm not knocking on them. There are certain entries. Of course, you get one free entry by if you have a Crunch in general, Crunch Gem account with any type of Crunch you go to. I pay one of the top tiers because I can go to any Crunch in the state of Georgia. I just prefer to go to Snellville. I get to use the tanning bed, which I'll never use because I'm scared of those things. I watch Final Destination. I'm never gonna use one of those things, but the tanning bed you get to use, the water bed cooling thing you get to use, and you get so many more amenities. The reason why I'm very skeptical about the entries is because if you got a account, you can get that as a free entry. But then for a second or more better chance of you having a chance to win, you've got to sign up with a trainer to do a training session. Personally, I don't do that because it's not no knock on the trainers because I love the trainers, but I get that they have to try to sell it a training method on you. They try to sell their services on you because they're trying to make that commission. I get it. Again, I'm not knocking my trainers at Crunch because I love them, but I know the game. I know the business. You're trying to get that commission. I just prefer not to pay extra for the gym that I already pay. Right? I already pay enough in my membership. I just don't have the idea of wanting to pay a little bit more when it comes down to getting a training session. Could I do it? Yes. A lot of people say, do I have a trainer? I did have a trainer, right? But I'm starting to understand that paying for a trainer, it becomes expensive. Crunch, like a lot of other gyms, right? Planet Fitness, LA Fitness, they're going up in their subscription because of the inflation. Things cost, so they have to drive up their cost, right? That's why I choose to say I don't want to pay any more money than I already have to by just joining the gym, right? I'm proud to pay my premium price because I need the gym. I need it. It's part of me now. I say that a lot in podcasting. I need the gym. I can't go without the gym, right? So I'm happy to pay a premium price. I just don't want to pay more, right? I think on the last podcast we talked about finances, I said that I'm very frugal with my money. That's so true. I'm very, 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 very frugal with my money. I choose wisely of what I spend my money on simply because we're just in this economy where things are expensive. If you're not frugal with your money nowadays, you are in trouble, and that's just my opinion. So that's why I don't do it. But congratulations to everybody who's in the entry for that sweepstakes. Boy, howdy, if I win that competition, I'm manifesting when I win that BMW 2 Series. 2 BMWs in my garage at home. That's really, really, really nice to have. So now we've got it. Of course, I'm bringing these buttons back, T. Our top story for today, guys.
Some of y'all might know this, and some of y'all don't.
Let's do it. K.L.P. has all the topics,
Yes, I do.
stories, and gossip. It's now time for our top story from K.L.P.
First top story goes out to AMC. Of course, AMC Theaters is offering 50% off tickets on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And I just wanted to talk about this because simply it is very, very interesting for AMC to offer this services. This is kind of smart when it comes down to AMC simply because, of course, we've got big movies coming out. Jurassic World Rebirth is already out. Scarlett Johansson is now the top leading female, or I don't know if they specify male or female, but she is the top earning actress right now because of this movie, Jurassic World Rebirth. I heard the movie was very fantastic. Quite a few movies that I want to see. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see this one primarily in theaters because I am saving up costs, saving up money to go see Fantastic Four at the end of this month. Fantastic Four comes out July 25th. I can't wait. I'm torn between that because coming up very, very soon, I want to say July 11th, if I'm not mistaken, the new Superman movie comes out. I want to see that movie too, right? I'm big into my superhero movies. I've watched Man of Steel back in the day when Henry Cavill was Superman. I watched both of them in theaters. I had a ball, had a blast. And then, believe it or not, Fantastic Four, both of them we saw in theaters when we were little, when we were kids, right? So I want to get into it with this one. Fantastic Four is very, very fantastic. Pun intended, y'all. But I want to see that movie in theaters simply because I am a big Fantastic Four fan. I want to see how they make Galactus. Of course, Galactus is the next semi supervillain that's going to be in this next wave of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I get very, very excited when it comes down to seeing Galactus, how that way that looks, how they're going to take Galactus down in Fantastic Four if they do it. So that's where I want to see that movie. I'm glad for AMC to offer 50% off on ticket sales on Tuesdays and Wednesdays simply because AMC is crafting and they know the market, right? People, and we talked about it, it's very interesting because with AMC, we talked about it when I was on vacation. Me and a group of my friends and I, we were just talking about movies in theater, going to theaters. I never want to go out and say, I'm never going to go to movie theaters because I know in 3 months we get to see it for free on a streaming service. Although that is true, it does happen, right? Sinners came out for HBO Max, and that was 3 months later. I saw Sinners. I can't wait to tell Evelyn when she gets into the studio that I finally got to see Sinners. But a good movie, by the way. We'll review that. We're probably gonna do a review on that movie on what happened was because I know Evelyn was waiting for that. But when it comes down to it, I'm glad that AMC is offering this off because we discussed it and we said going to the movie theaters now is a premium luxury thing, right? I remember back in the day when we would go to AMC, we would spend no more. If my brother, because my little brother, they did work at AMC, so I was able to see some movies for free. If I wasn't seeing the movie for free, the lowest that I'm spending on a movie ticket was about $10, $12, right? Nowadays, I'm spending $20, $30, right? Depending on if I want great seats, depending on if I want, and you can't go to the movie theaters without getting popcorn and candy. We all know the trick. We all know the idea that you're supposed to buy candy at, a convenience store and then you hide it in your pocket and then you walk into because they're not going to check you at the theater, right? And you sneak in candy. I've done that before. But if I don't want to go out and I'm just paying that convenience, and that's why the candy and stuff is so expensive, especially hotels, because you are paying more because you're paying the convenience of not going out of your way to find that candy. It's right there. It's the convenience you're paying for. And if I'm on a date, obviously I'm going to flex and say, you want some popcorn? You want some candy? You want some soda? Why don't you get like a little combo meal, right? So if I'm on a date, I'm going to flex and say, okay, let's get that. So at most, I'm spending about $30 going to the movies, depending on the situation. So it's very good that AMC is offering 50% off tickets for Tuesdays and Wednesdays because now folks are able to go to the theater and to really have a great time and to really enjoy their time in knowing that they didn't spend an arm and a leg. Even though to some people it's just $30, but to some people $30 is a lot of money, right? Again, this is what I said at the beginning of the podcast. Things are more expensive. Things are up, right? So people are not wanting – nowadays people are getting very, very, very strategic, frugal of how they're spending their money. So congratulations to that. This promotion did start today, July 8th, just in time for Superman, just in time for Jurassic World if you haven't seen it, just in time for Fantastic Four towards the end of the month. So I do hope that a lot of people do it. I do hope that a lot of people get into it and really have a great time when it comes down to it. I really do hope that this was something that will be very, very beneficial to a lot of people when it comes down to it. So if you're able to get that time off or get that money off for the AMC theaters, that's pretty good. And that's how AMC becomes competitive too. If you think about it, that's how they become very, very competitive to Regal or Cinemark or the Cine Bistro, that they're offering a low cost. Now, does that mean that the snacks will go up so for them to make their money back? Could be. Right? If you think about it business-wise, if they got to decrease something from a part of their service, somewhere in that service, something has to go up for them to recoup that money, right? Because the AMC, all the theaters, is all a business. It's all a work. So you got to be careful. You got to understand it. You got to understand the ropes of it. So I hope that, you're able to take advantage of that steal of 50% off for AMC. For sure.
Some of y'all might know this, and some of y'all don't.
Let's do it. K.L.P.
I love this song
has
too.
all the topics, stories, and gossip. It is now time for our top story from K.L.P.
Top story number 2, guys. TSA to end shoe removal requirements. Let me tell y'all. Yes. I am so with that. Let me tell y'all. Going to the airport, especially here in Atlanta, we all know last weekend when it held here in Clayton County down the street and the control tower went out of business. Had no power, went out of business, and we had to derail from Punta Cana to Savannah. You guys want to know that? Go check the podcast when we came back from vacation. I went in on that one. I am so glad. Now, TSA to remove shoe removal requirement at the airport security checkpoints and most major airports. I just hope this happens at Hartsville-Jackson down there in Clayton County, simply because I like that idea. It's such a great idea. I get why they did the shoe removal back in the day. I get it. Making sure nobody's sneaking nothing in. But I am so glad that they're able to end that up right now because TSA is hectic. Along with a lot of places, the airport is another nasty, bacterial collecting place that you could ever be. Is the airport. Folks are nasty. I'm just going to say it. Folks are nasty. Folks don't take showers. Let me tell you, this happened last year. It didn't happen with Punta Cana because I sat next to these lovely couples and I didn't smell them like all up in their face, but they smelled really clean. But when I went to Puerto Rico last year, and I sat next to this couple, and this girl was musty, crusty, musty, dusty, lusty. She stank. She needed some deodorant. I was tempted to say, anybody have deodorant on their flight? This girl needs some deodorant, right? So my point is saying people are nasty. You'd be surprised. We might be clean. I like if y'all ever seen me and my hygiene in my house and stuff. I'm a clean freak. I can't do it. I can't do the grossness. Airports are the most disgusting thing that you can ever be at. Right? That's why I still understand why people still wear a mask at the airport because it is gross in there. It is. I'm glad they are ending that requirement. Now, obviously, when I'm at the airport, I'm wearing shoes, I'm wearing socks. When I went to Punta Cana, we were getting ready. We're going through TSA at Hartsville-Jackson, about to board our plane to Punta Cana last week. A lot of people didn't wear socks. And I just kept looking like, ooh, you about to catch feet fungus. You about to catch some on them feet because you ain't got no socks on. Let me tell you, socks are about $10. Right? The most expensive sock is about $30 if you have a luxury type sock. The less you're going to spend on some socks is $10. I say to a lot of people, wear socks. If you're able to wear socks at the airport, wear socks. Do not go barefooted because you're going to have to take the shoes off for the TSA requirement, and you got to stand somewhere. You can't float, right? And you got to plant your feet on that nasty floor, knowing that they probably don't clean them floors. Right, the airport, especially at Hartsville-Jackson, is a continuing cycle, guys. It keeps going. It doesn't shut down for custodial to clean up. It keeps cycling. It keeps going. It keeps going in operation. So I say to a lot of people, it is very, very important to continue to rock socks at the airport because you got to take your shoes off for security. I'm glad that they're ending that because, again, those floors are nasty. I've seen it to where some people didn't have socks on. They had to take the shoes off for the requirement and bare feet on them nasty floors. And some of them feet, because you can see feet, right? Obviously, we're close, not super close to each other, but we're all right there trying to get through TSA. And I saw some crusty feet, ashy, crusty. I said, you need to put some socks on. Let's go ahead and get you through so you can put your shoes back on because your feet look like you got corn rolls on your feet. It looks like you got syphilis on your feet. These feet look gross. So I saw some feet at the airport where the toenails wasn't clipped. Ladies and gentlemen, I say this. Please clip your toenails. Do not have Wolverine knives as feet. Clip those toenails because feet, we use them every day, right? We walk on it. We use our feet to walk. for a lot of people who are, are able to walk, we use our feet every day. It's very, very important to keep your feet hygienic, clean, hygiene. Put some lotion on that. Clip them things. Shower them things. And if you got some calluses, and I've seen some feet that got some calluses on it, I kind of get it, but there's some cream for that, right? I think hygiene is the most important thing, and you'd be surprised that a lot of people didn't do it. So I'm glad that TSA they're starting to understand that, hey, taking your shoes off may not be a requirement for that. I'm glad for that because people, and then the thing is too, people don't pay attention to TSA. When TSA gives instructions and people don't pay attention, that's where I kind of get upset about, because people do not pay attention to TSA administrators when they're giving instruction. It's just following directions. You'd be surprised people do not follow directions. And that's what drives me nuts going through TSA. And now that's why they're so angry and they're yelling all over the place, because people are not following instructions again. So again, congratulations to TSA. I hope this happens before I go to Chicago next week. By the way, we can go ahead and announce it. Of course, next Monday and Tuesday, there will not be podcasting for Bro Code or K.L.P Aftermath, simply because we are filming a documentary. Shout out to that. We're filming a documentary, so we're going to be in the studio, another studio in Atlanta, to film this documentary. So we're shutting down the offices, bringing the equipment to the studio that we're going to film parts of this documentary, by the way. And then on starting the 19th through the 21st or 22nd, we're going to be in Chicago. More news to come about that, because I do have 2 shows that will be in Chicago to premiere for you guys. You got to stay tuned when we get ready to announce that as well. Now, moving on to the other news announcements here today on the podcast. Of course, I had to do it. We got to talk about WWE Raw's review from last night. Again, if you guys know, you know. We hope that everybody is able to do their thing here when it comes down to it. Yeah, so when it comes down to it, you guys know we got to talk about it. It's a very, very joyous time for WWE. Obviously, this weekend is Saturday night's main event, the Great American Bash from NXT and WWE's Evolution. I think I said it in the Bro Code podcast yesterday. I will be because all of those shows are coming down here to Atlanta at State Farm Arena this coming weekend. It's going to be a very interesting weekend because, you got WWE in town and Beyonce's in town for her concert at Mercedes. So very, very interesting when it comes down to what's going to happen that weekend, that night. A lot of people going all kinds of directions. So I'm gonna be in the building for State Farm Arena on Sunday for WWE's Evolution. I've had my little brother, they wanted to go to Evolution, so I was able to score some good tickets for a good price, right? I know Saturday night's main event might have been cool to go to this Saturday. It's just those tickets are high. When it comes down to it, is what I said at the beginning of the podcast. I'm very frugal with my money when it comes down to certain things. I just wasn't going to spend $1,000 for Saturday night's main event. I just can't. Could I do it? Yes. Will I do it? Probably not, because Evolution cost me nowhere near that amount for the ticket to go to Evolution. But it's a joyous time for Atlanta this coming weekend for State Farm Arena. They're going to make a lot of money this weekend. State Farm and Mercedes. But last night's Monday Night Raw, they were in Providence, Rhode Island at the Amica Mutual Pavilion. Here was the match card. You had Penta versus Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker, Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed, Kairi Sane versus Roxanne Perez, and of course they cut in a Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Laura Vicario promo. So of course, Seth Rollins and crew, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman, the Oracle, Paul Heyman, they kick off Raw with a segment when it comes down to it. They're very, very interesting because Braun took the mic. Braun was up first to speak. He said, nope, this is my spotlight. He goes into the middle of the ring, cuts his promo. Seth Rollins like, yo, I'm the ring leader here. What are you doing? But it was very, very cool that Seth Rollins allowed Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman to cut a promo. Paul Heyman had a lot to say about Roman Reigns. He said that Roman Reigns doesn't have the balls to show back up on Monday Night Raw. I think Roman Reigns is on his way back to the limelight of things when it comes down to it. Very, very interesting to have them cut a promo when it comes down to it. The facial expression for Rollins and Heyman during Breaker's promo was very, very funny. I like Braun Breaker when he tweaks out, when he be tweaking and stuff, when he be like doing that number here. I know I just look crazy right now, but it's so funny. I laugh every time Braun Breaker's doing this. he tweaking out. It's like he bugging. It is the funniest thing for him to see. He's selling it. He's selling his character, and I really love it that he's able to do that to set the mood for that as well. Then the next match we had, of course, was the Kairi Sane versus Roxanne Perez matchup. Of course, Sane does defeat Perez. I do like this idea of Kairi Sane's coming back to the limelight of things, and she's becoming more talented. I remember when she first came out, I wasn't a big fan, right? But I do like it that now that she's coming out of her shell, she's performing some moves, and she's not hesitating on her moveset. That's the one thing I say to a lot of superstars when it comes down to it, that don't delay your moveset. You got to be confident in that moveset, simply because if you are not confident in that moveset, then it's going to lead to a disaster when it comes down to being able to perform the moves that you need to perform in. So it gets very, very exciting for that. I'm very, very stoic for Kairi Sane to do their thing and to really give it more of a flair when it comes down to it. I get very, very excited to see Kairi Sane perform her thing, and she's doing it out really well. Again, Liv Morgan is still out due to injury when it comes down to it. Very, very interesting when they cut the promo after that match. When it comes down to it, you know, there was a picture of Liv Morgan, and Judgment Day said they had candles, like it was like a candle vigil, like she dead or something. Liv Morgan and Raquel like, hey, she's not gone, she's not dead, she's just injured. So very, very interesting. I did like that segment too, whereas there was a cake. It says, Dominic Mysterio, hope you get well. And Finn Balor and JD McDonough, well, Dominic say, hey, was that y'all? And then they looked at each other and they matched the words and say, was that you? Wasn't us. And they walked out. And then it says, Dominic, I hope you get better. Signed AJ Styles. And AJ kind of peeps his head from the court. That was like the spookiest thing. That was like the funniest thing. He kind of creeped his head. It's like, hey, I see you. And Dominic said, hey, you can't touch me. I'm still hurt. Very cool for Judgment Day that they all have gold. We've been there, done that, right? I know a lot of people say we've been there, done that. Every Judgment Day had all gold for a while. We had the Finn Balor, JD McDonough thing, being champions for the longest while, and that story didn't sell well as much as we thought. But maybe they're taking another crack at it. Maybe they're starting something new. So very, very interesting for that. After, Kairi Sane won against Roxanne Perez, of course, Raquel Rodriguez, tongue twister, guys, beats up Kairi Sane in the reps. After the end of the match, of course, you had Asuka to come back, and now we officially have the Kabuki Warriors reunited as a tag team, and we're gonna be able to see them on Sunday at State Farm Arena for Evolution, because they're now going for the tag team championship bout. So it's very, very cool to see the Kabuki Warriors come back for it, just to kind of give them another go at this stable thing, another go at this limelight of stuff. So new slate for Sami Zayn, of course, Nikki Bella. Also, they had a cut promo for her as well, package that is. We're going to be able to see her also on Sunday at Evolution at State Farm Arena down the street. As you know, we're going to get the Battle Royale. I'm very excited for this pay-per-view because it looks like it's going to be a good card. I'm judging it by its cover right now. I think Evolution might be decent, right? So then you had it where after cutting that promo, we had another cut promo for the Judgment Day. Their segment last night was very funny. Obviously, they dressed in all black with flowers as if they're at a funeral, right? Because they lost the tag team champions to Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Of course, you had the War Raiders. They're next in line trying to get back their championship belts. But then the New Day was able to do their thing. As we get ready for Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn comes out very excited, taped up because he's injured, right? He got hit by a pipe by Karrion Kross. He's doing his thing. He's coming out there, and Karrion Kross comes from behind. The way he did it, guys, he was like, I'm coming to hit you. I'm coming to hit you. He said, bam. Hit Sami Zayn with the pipe on the ankle there, or the ribs there. Sami Zayn, it was kind of a cut promo. He said, no, let's get him to the back. He's hurt. But then they say, nope. Sami Zayn said, nope, I'm going to try, right? He gave it a good shot. Sami Zayn got his ass kicked by Braun Breaker. Michael Cole even was losing his shit. He was like, Chad Patton is one of the officials. He said, Chad, call this match off. Call it off. Call it off. Get Manic down here. Long and behold, Sami Zayn got his ass kicked last night. They're trying to sell Braun Breaker being the solidified badass. And I like it because he's from Atlanta. So we end up seeing that the Braun Breaker wins the match after a severe spear that he gave when it comes down to it. We got a preview for WWE Evolution for Sunday. Becky Lynch, which I think I might have mentioned this in the last podcast because I kind of knew this was happening. You had Bayley interfere with Laura Valkyria and Becky Lynch's promo, their segment, and their ideas. I knew this was going to be a triple threat match at Evolution. I knew this was coming. It was just too obvious. They made it official. We're going to see a triple threat championship match. Bayley versus Becky Lynch versus Laura Valkyria. I want to root for Laura because she looked real good. Like, I like it when she wears little skirts and she looks a little thick in all the right ways. Look, if that was her fiance, maybe I could have had a chance too. I'm joking. Hey, love is love. I'm just joking. He looked funny, right? So it's like, damn, if that's your fiance, maybe I got a shot too then. I like Laura Valkyria. She's growing on me. I like how thick she is. Honestly, I really do. I like her angle on this. I just hated that they stumble. Because Laura Valkyria, when she was cutting her part of the promo, she stumbled. She said the wrong name. She recovered very quickly as she could. But you stumbled a few words. And that's the one thing with WWE, they don't like it when you do that. If you're going to cut the promo, practice your promo, because if you stumble and fumble your words, it's not going to look good. And it didn't look good on there. Very, very notable. Very notable. Of course, Bayley said you raised her hand like a little bitch. So I'm glad that they're allowing more cuss words with WWE. I think that's like the, oh shit, like they cussing. That kind of moment. They gave this segment, Bleacher Report gave it a C+. I agree with that grading simply because they kept fumbling their words on top of each other. That's where the misconception of. The next match was Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed. Quick match, right? It got on the Impact where, Bronson Reed hits Jey Uso with one of the commentator chairs and he got DQ'd. Jey Uso won it by the disqualification, but Bronson Reed was able to do 2 tsunamis on Jey Uso. Jey Uso still doing it. The yeet still sells, in the crowd, letting the kids yeet with them. Look, it sells. I would have loved to see a longer match than this, but it was a quickie, right? It was a quickie, right? Because Bronson Reed, mad, pissed off, I'm gonna just throw this on Jey Uso. I don't care if I get disqualified. I just want to punish Jey Uso, right? And that's why Bleacher Report gives us a C+, because it wasn't long enough for that commentator chair being smashed into Jey Uso. And then you had the Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky hype for Evolution. Very, very cool to see that. I can't wait to see that match. I think that might be the main event for Evolution State Farm Arena this Sunday. And then you had Dragon Lee versus El Grande Americano. Duh, we know that's Kaiser Luke Kaiser. We all know that. Great matchup. I was very disappointed to see that Dragon Lee lost to that, though. Like, I get that's the gimmick. I get they're trying to sell the gimmick on a Grande Americano. Ludwig Kaiser is trying to come back from his time off, right? I get that part. But Dragon Lee's one of the top dope luchadors, and you have him lose to El Grande Americano. I don't really agree with that. I don't. Kind of sad to see that happen. They gave that a C+. Of course, Goldberg comes up with that nice Camaro SS old school. They're building hype for this. Goldberg interrupts Gunther. He comes out with that beautiful orange SS Camaro. That's the type of car he was driving. Storms into the arena, gets to the ring, knocks the mic out of Gunther's hand, punched him with one right hook, almost went for a spear, and of course the spear did not connect. Look, I'm all for them doing their thing, right? I'm here for it. I just get kind of nervous when it comes down to one thing that's going down when it comes down to them trying to sell the matchup. Goldberg, of course, interrupts Gunther, and look, I get it. I understand that they're trying to Goldberg's trying to scare Gunther, right? I just think it's going to be a huge disappointment if Goldberg loses this match. Well, he probably. There's a chance he might lose this match on Saturday night's main event, but If Goldberg has an extension contract, he could try to win the championship, have one more go. It would be really sad if Goldberg loses this match here in Atlanta, his hometown, right? That's why I get nervous about it, is because you're hyping somebody up to sell the ticket, right? You have Goldberg comes in there. Goldberg's being this solidified badass, because I still think he's a solidified badass too, right? A little bit older, obviously, but he can still go. He's still swole. He can still wrestle, right? I just hope we don't see a Goldberg loss in his hometown in Atlanta. I do want to see this match being a slobber knocker, quoting the great Jim Ross, a slobber knocker of a match for it to be worthy of a watch, right? Because we looked at those Saturday Night's Main Events tickets, right? Because they're going to be here in State Farm Arena in Atlanta. I looked at those tickets. Those tickets are high. I'm going to be honest. Those tickets are too high for me, right? There's a set number I'm willing to pay for WWE tickets. So if you got people that's going to spend thousands of dollars on tickets, make this match worthwhile. I want to see Goldberg and Gunther go at it at the main event of Saturday Night's Main Event is what I want to see. And you're on NBC Peacock, right? Don't give us half-baked, half-cooked match. Because that's where a lot of people get upset. That's where a lot of people say, damn, I spent all this money for this. Give us a good show. Gunther and Goldberg. That's what I want. Will we do it? Will we have it? We'll have to wait and see, and I'll be the judge of that for the next episode. Of course, you had Penta versus Seth Rollins. Now, that was a good match. That was a good match. They give that, Bleacher Report gives that match an A. That was a very good match. A lot of high-flying moves from Penta. A lot of high-flying moves from Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is an elite wrestler. Debate it or not, he's an elite wrestler. Penta being who he is today. Penta doing the high-flying moves and really giving us a story, giving us a show. And his overall character and personality is really, really amazing for the Penta character. So that's why this match was very, very good when it comes down to the end of it. Of course, Penta goes for one of his moves. Of course, Seth Rollins uses his head to hit him in the balls, and of course, Seth Rollins goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3, knockout. Hit it when you get hit in the balls. That's it. That's why it was and this was a very long match. So I really enjoyed a match like this. Of course, we did have LA Knight come out of nowhere to deliver the blood force trauma to Rollins. After the match, Paul Heyman said, hey, get out here now. It was Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. They were going to beat the living crap out of Penta, but LA Knight comes to the rescue, do BFT on Seth Rollins, and he does a swift exit because we're going to see LA Knight and Seth Rollins here in Atlanta, State Farm Arena for Saturday Night's Main Event as well. Very, very good match for that. I love to see that, the lineup. Overall grading for this, they give this match a Bleacher Report gives the show a C+. C+ is still a passing score, but it's not great. So we just have to wait to see what happens when it comes down to it, how Saturday Night's Main Event will be when it comes down to it as well. So if you guys looking forward to it, I know I'm looking forward to Evolution. If you're looking forward to Main Event, I probably will be here at either in the studio or in my house watching Saturday Night's Main Event, simply because them tickets are high. But shout out to WWE. They got something. They got some stuff going on for sure. All right. So I've got to talk about it as part of the elephant of the room.
Some of y'all might know this, and some of y'all don't.
Let's do it. It is now time for the elephant in the room.
Hey.
K.L.P. Who's the biggest elephant today?
All right, so the biggest elephant is, it's not really a bad thing, really, but the biggest elephant goes out to us guys, I guess, kind of. Let me explain. So the question is, and I say this to men and women, right? I don't really like to gentrify sexuality and relationships and body types on this podcast or any of my podcasts, really, because, I have a lot of friends that identify as them, they. I have a lot of friends that identify as he, him. I got a lot of friends that identifies as she, her. So this kind of goes out to my men and my women, right? If you love the ladies, if my ladies, you love the ladies, I don't judge. But I thought this would be a great topic. And the question is, does body type matter? And I kind of have to give myself the elephant in the room too, right? because from World Star, there was this art that went out. And they say in the caption, it says, "Men, what's your type?" And they're talking about women. On this show, if you are a lady that loves the ladies and play for the same team, that's perfectly fine too, right? But on World Star, they say, "Question for the fellas." I don't gentrify that because I just don't. But the question is that I'm proposing to a lot of people: does the body type matter? And I gotta say yes and no. Now, and this is my relationship back, I guess, this conversation that I had millions and millions of times on the podcast. I would say to myself, I used to say I have a body type, but some of my friends corrected me on the saying, on the verbiage. And the verbiage is, what do you prefer? Your preference is this. I do have a preference. Um, I necessarily don't go for my ladies that are, if they're just a tad bit overweight. I'm trying to be careful with my words here. I don't want to say fat because that's wrong. That's a wrong verbiage, right? I go for my ladies that are fit. I do. The reason why that being is because I said at the beginning of this podcast, my fitness is very important. I'm always looking to date people who enjoys fitness. I'm not saying be it extrusive exercise, strenuous workout, a more intense workout. That's not what I'm saying. But a little bit of fitness for me is what I prefer in my ladies. I do, right? To have the energy to do a lot of things, right? And the reason why I say that, and I'm not trying to get kind of gross on the show, but I can say it. The reason why I prefer my ladies to be more fit, because number one, I've been on my fitness journey for years, right? And I'm becoming a little bit more smaller. People are noticing I'm looking better. I'm getting more swoller, getting more smaller. And I have so much energy that I would back, let's say in 2014. 2014 is where I was a little bit, I was fat and I didn't have the energy. I had what was called, and I still have it, but it doesn't flare up. I haven't had a flare up in years, but it's called exercise overindosed asthma, right? Meaning that I was fat and I was getting tired so quickly and my asthma will spark up. Nowadays, that doesn't happen, right? By the grace of God. And the reason why I prefer my ladies to be fit and have the energy, because I like to exercise. I like to do activities, right? I will say it. If a woman is very fit in the gym, she might be very fit when you're having sex, right? You got to have energy to have sex. I'm not trying to get gross in the podcast, but you got to have energy to have sex. You can't not have the energy because you got one little pump and then that's it. You tired, right? And sexually speaking, if you have a lot of energy during sex, you have more time to go, right? You have more time to pump and hump. You have that energy to really last long, right? And that's what I prefer, right? So that's when I say body type kind of matters depending on your preference. I try not to go for the skinny meanies, right? Because I have before, right? The skinny meanies. The skinny meanies, they can look, skinny meanies could get it, I guess. But my preference is I gotta have a little something there. Not too much. Because I say that, and this is part of the body type, having too much ass matters. I know a lot of dudes will be like, "Oh, you can't never have too much ass." Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Because I've seen too much ass. There is a thing as too much ass. BBLs, anybody? There's so much of that I've seen. Not in my circle, but I've seen that to where some BBLs will look very deformed and didn't look good. Even in Punta Cana, when I was in Punta Cana, my friend Muncie said, "Damn, she got a bad BBL. It looks worse." And I looked over, I was like, "Yeah, that's not attractive to me." I like natural, right? If you naturally got it and you got a little something there that's natural, that's my preference because it's natural. I don't have to feel scared that I'm going to pop it. It's going to be there and it's going to give me a little oomph, right? So when I say there is too much, there's a saying of too much ass. Yes, I agree. That is a thing of too much ass. Have I dated skinny minis before? Yes. There are some good looking skinny minis. Yes. I don't go for the super skinny minis where you might be anorexic. Again, I'm trying to be careful with my words, but that's the scientific term of it. I don't go for those type of ladies, right? I like natural, natural, natural. Have I gone for some girls that are a little bit thick? Sure, yeah. I don't judge on that. If you thick, for men and women, really, I don't gentrify. But if you thick in all the right places and you that healthy thick, boy howdy, I'm in. There is a thing as being too thick, right? Ladies, I'm about to say this because it's just my opinion. I hope I don't rather some feathers. But I feel that a lady, for my preference, can't be bigger than me. And I'm a big dude too, right? I'm not saying I'm big as in fat. I'm getting swole. I'm a big dude. If you, and I'm trying to be careful, if you're a little bit bigger than me, I may not go for you simply because my preference is a girl that's a little bit smaller than me. Not too small, but just a tad bit smaller than me. Because when I go in and pick you up and it feels right and I'm doing my thing, it's going to feel right. In my opinion, this is just my preference. Some people like them double, double back, double cheeseburger. I'm sorry. I had you to. I'm sorry. But if you prefer that, hey, I ain't judging you. I did say I prefer my ladies to be in fit. I don't prefer ladies that look swoller than me. And it's not for ladies before you say that, because I know some ladies was like, oh, you feel insecure about your body that a woman can't be swole. That's not what I'm saying, because I know ladies will say that. If you got bigger, better six-pack, muscular biceps and triceps better than mine, I might be a little intimidated. I might be a little scared that you're going to beat the living shit out of me. Those ladies in particular, I don't go for. But I will say this. In my college days, I've talked to a girl. She was super swole. Not super, but she had the abs and the muscles. And when we got to talking and she got to touching me and she not roughhoused me, but she, I kind of liked it. I'm not going to lie. I kind of liked it. So it just depends on what you like. Ain't nothing wrong for a lady to go down on a guy. If she's just a tad, if she's swole, but not super swole, and she giving you it and she got the energy, that might be appealing to you, because it was appealing to me at the time. I just prefer me being the more swole because, again, I got, what's it called? Testosterone? I got it. So for me, I just want to be the leader in charge of what I'm doing, right? When it comes down to it. That's primarily my body type that I go for. I've seen a lot of dudes that go for the skinny minis. I see a lot of dudes that go for the double back cheeseburgers. Again, I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to make fun of my ladies. I'm not. And it's all about what you like. I think, and I say this is part of the elephant in the room because, we do judge, right? And it's sad that we do, but we do. We do judge the body type when it comes down to it. I just prefer if she is fit. I'm not, like I say, it doesn't have to be a strenuous workout regimen that this lady might have. If you work out, exercise, you're for me. I think the height doesn't matter too. I think a lot of ladies primarily might go for taller guys, and that's kind of like a crutch for me because I'm only 5'8", right? I'm not growing anymore. This is it. I wish I could grow a little bit more taller, maybe, sure, but this is it. I can't grow any more than 5'8". And it's kind of a crutch to some of the ladies because some ladies prefer them to be 5'4", and some ladies want their man to be 6'8", 7 foot tall. I wish I could, but I can't. And that's kind of a crunch to that, crunch to that, because me being short, a lot of ladies don't be attractive to me because I'm short. Do I cry about it? No, I don't. I used to be sad about it, but I don't. I love my height. I'm blessed with my height, and I'm happy with my height because I've had it to where I know some girls that are way shorter than me. One in particular, I know her, and she's one of the trainers. She's way shorter than me, and I kind of like her. That's my ideal body type fit. She's short, so I can pick her up with these. Right. Too bad she got a boyfriend. That always happens, right, guys? You like a girl. Oh, I got a boyfriend. Anyway, but I do attract my tall ladies too, right? If you are tall, it's okay with me. I do not mind if my girl is way taller than me. I don't. Because let me tell you something, guys. And ladies, if you like the ladies too, we don't gentrify. Long legs, you can do some things with that, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of things that girls with long legs could do to a man. Straddle them down and do some interesting things that might have you explore a little bit more. That you never thought you might like something new until you explore that. He's like, ooh, I think I like that. Right? That's why I say, ladies with long legs, if you're taller than me, I attract you too. Your personality. And it's all about the personality, really. If you have a great personality and you have great intentions and great pure heart, that's where you attract me the most. But it's a plus if you are semi-fit. Again, you don't have to be a super bodybuilder, but extremely or having some sort of fitness goal, healthy goal, eating right, treating yourself right, treating your body right, then that's my ideal body type, if that makes sense, right? I know a lot of guys, some guys I know personally, they want super skinny, model, beautiful, perfect height, perfect hair, perfect blue eyes, perfect brown eyes. I don't go for all that. I go for the fitness. I go for the personality. I go for the funniness because I'm goofy and funny too, right? If you can match my energy, you might be the one for me. I'm just saying. So that's going to wrap it up here on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you guys enjoyed this episode as much. Guys, thank y'all so much. Again, tomorrow we'll be back for Bro Code Podcast tomorrow. And then Friday, What Had Happened Was podcast with me and Evelyn will be on Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so very much for staying tuned for our shows. We love you guys so much. And if you like all of the content from K.L.P Entertainment, please remember to like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook Watch, and Spotify for video. And if you're listening to it on any audio platform you get your podcast from, share it with your friends. Thank you guys so much. The voting is now open. Of course, I am on the Global Citizens Festival, the America's Next Top Hitmaker. I am in the quarterfinals. I am 10th place now. I used to be number one in the group segment, but I am in the 10th place at the quarterfinals. So I need your vote, guys. One free vote is completely free. All they're going to ask you to do is sign into your Facebook. Everybody has a Facebook, and vote for me. It doesn't cost you a penny to get that free vote. But if you want to spend some more money on more votes for me, I really appreciate it because it is a lot we got going on with this. Of course, we get to appear with Rolling Stone, with me and K.L.P Entertainment. We're going to perform at the Globe and Citizens Festival in New York this fall. We had K.L.P Entertainment and I will win a grand prize of $50,000 to give within K.L.P Entertainment. I got some ideas for that 50 grand, so I need your vote. Free vote. Again, it's totally free vote. You just got to click the link in my bios, click the link, do that free vote, and you're done. That's all we're asking with K.L.P Entertainment. That's going to wrap it up here at K.L.P Aftermath. We'll see you guys in the next episode. So long. Stay swanky. Peace.
Go! What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. Go! It's K.L.P Aftermath with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.
Made it.